the reward of the inheritance. Again, just specifying the words here. This is not the same thing as any type of gift, because the reward is not a gift. This is inheritance that's connected with the reward. The inheritance, again, of 1 Peter 1 is connected with the gift, but this one is connected with rewards. All right, knowing that of the Lord you shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. Notice verse 25, but he that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done. And there is no respect of persons. Again, the context is the reward of this inheritance. And so just like the guy that's described in 1 Corinthians 6, and just like the guy that's described in Ephesians 5, that's a whoremonger, that's effeminate, that's, all these different characteristics, they give their life to those patterns, they will not inherit the kingdom of God. They will not have a ruling and reigning with Jesus Christ. They will receive the wrong done. What would that look like? Well, according to 1 Corinthians 3 and other passages, it'll look like suffering great loss. And so we certainly don't want to be that. And so when reading, back to Colossians 3, when reading that this morning, I just want to highlight some things that, again, because verse 24 is obviously in chapter 3. So I want to look at the context and some of the commands and the things that chapter 3 tells us to do and to give our life to, that can help us angle our life at one day, Lord willing, receiving the reward of the inheritance. All right. So the first thing, Colossians 3:1 is the Lord lets us know that we've got to set our mind on eternal things. We have to set our mind on eternal things. So verse 1, it starts off the chapter like this. And this is coming off of the context of chapter 2, talking about philosophy and the wisdom of this world, and how we're not to give ourselves to that. All right, so chapter 3, verse 1, he says, if ye then be risen with Christ. So if you're saved, that's what that's saying. If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. Set your affection on things above, not on the things of the earth. And so we know that reference, and we know that we're to give our life to eternal things, but we do got to remember the simplicity that if we're going to live unto to obtaining the reward of the inheritance, getting rewards at the judgment seat of Christ, and having an inheritance one day to rule and reign with Christ, where we're going to be able to bring him maximum glory. If that's going to be true, at its very basic, most simple thing in our life is we're going to have to give ourselves and care about eternal things. It says to seek those things, which means we're to pursue them, but it also says to set my affection on those. So I'm to pursue those things, and I'm to love those things. I'm to hold eternal things to a high regard. That's what he's saying. And so you can see why this book is so closely connected with Laodicea there in Revelation 3, because what is it that us as Laodiceans are described to have problems with? Well, we're lukewarm. And we say that we're rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing. That's the exact opposite of seeking first eternal things and setting our affection or our heart and our love upon those things. So we got to do that. If we're going to ever get to the place of verse 24, verse 1 and 2 has got to be real in our life.